row.
Yeah, that's 11 now for Barraquee.
Yeah.
Pretty handy.
Before we get into studs and duds, Jordan is in Epping. He wants to talk about college football. Jordan, good evening.
Good evening, guys. Long time, first time.
Good start.
Excellent, Jordan.
Just a question about the Heisman. Who do you think is pretty much ready to win the Heisman? Obviously, with Notre Dame winning today,
yes,
and becoming the undefeated team and heading into bowl season, do you think Manti Te'o is now a lock for the Heisman?
That's a really good question. It's funny because every now and then a defensive player comes along and a guy with a backstory that everyone loves, a guy who plays for Notre Dame, he's from Hawaii, he's had some personal tragedy, and suddenly you watch the broadcast and he's in like every shot, this guy. It's unbelievable. Now he's very, very good, but I would reckon there's better defensive players in the country as well. The kid at Florida State who's an outstanding player. Teo's a front runner without a doubt. The kid at Texas A&M they call Johnny Football. Johnny Manziel has just been exceptional. He's a freshman quarterback.
Johnny Manziel.
Manziel. Looks like Manziel, but they say Manziel. They just call him Johnny Football. He has been unbelievable. I think he's in there. A couple other guys have dropped out, maybe a little bit. Oregon's Kenyon Barner was up there for a while. It's hard to say. I think it's going to be a very tight race this year, not like last year where we knew it would be Griffin or Luck. But certainly Teo is in there. I find it odd you give it to a defender, but he's on an undefeated team. It's hard to argue with him. Good question, though.
Very good question. Thank you, Jordan. We'll jump into studs and duds now, then we'll go through some of the markets for all of the weekend's action or Monday morning action for us. Starting off with the studs. Ed, you can take us away first.
Yeah, well, I'll go to that Thanksgiving game. Matt Schaub and Andre Johnson from the Texans, they just had some amazing numbers. Schaub at 527 yards passing, 5 touchdowns. Johnson 14 catches and 273 yards. They were exceptional in the end. Schaub is an underrated quarterback, and Johnson, everyone knew he was going to get the ball, is making catches with 2 or 3 guys hanging off him. They were exceptional.
He took an AFL-style mark from behind, climbing over the back of his...
He's very, very good.
Do you believe in the Houston Texans?
I am now. I am believing in them now. I've been a big skeptic, but that showed me a little something there. They could have folded their tent there, gone, oh, it's Thanksgiving. Let's go home and eat some turkey and cranberry and pack this thing in. But they didn't do it.
Okay, my stud is the quarterback from the Jacksonville Jaguars last week only.
Yes.
And Chad Henne, Blaine Gabbert injured, and Henne stood in, and 354 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. They're pretty handy figures for a stand-in.
And I tell you the thing I like about that is I like the fact that he played well and Jacksonville's still playing hard. They don't have anything to play for. Unlike Kansas City, unlike Philadelphia, who has just gone in the tank. Jacksonville is still actually trying to put a season together, even though they have no hope, and I like that.
Maybe Vic and Sanchez will just switch clubs.
It's worth a try, I think.
I had to rack my brains. I thought I'd throw an olive branch out to the Jets because we've been caning them not only this week but for weeks. So I've gone 2 weeks back and looked at the Jets' defense as my studs for the week. They forced 3 turnovers and they held Bradford to 170 passing yards and got over the Rams 27-13. It was hard to find them as a stud, but I thought I'd try my best to find them as a stud.
And the duds of the week.
I want to lead off.
Yes.
No, I'm going to lead off because he's just gone for the Jets defense. The Jets offense. I mean, crap with a capital C. Say no more. I reckon when your quarterback runs into his own teammate and then fumbles the ball, to me, that was their season encapsulated in 1 second.
Yeah.
It's not a good sign.
Fair enough. Mine, this is a little bit cruel, but I'm going to say Nick Foles, the kid, the rookie from Arizona who's at the Philadelphia Eagles, took over for Michael Vick because Vick was injured, of course. Foles threw 2 interceptions, fumbled 3 times, although the Eagles did recover them, and was 21 of 46 for 204 yards. So, a little bit cruel, but before we anoint these guys as a savior and say, let's bench Vick, we got to understand that these rookies still have a lot to learn.
My dud is going to be the Chiefs. The Chiefs playing at home. I mean, home ground advantage in any sport is meant to be enormous. Not for the Chiefs. They lost 28-6 to the Bengals. That took them to 0-5 for this home season, which is just inexplicable and horrible. And in those 5 losses, they got outscored by 68 points in those losses. Their last game, their fans wore black to show their disdain for the Chiefs playing at home.
That's coming off a game where they actually led at one stage for the first
time all season.
Hey,
You're right.
So many quarterbacks out injured last week. A lot of quarterbacks
there were
out
a
injured.
lot. Yeah.
Cutler didn't play.
No. In fact, that's one I think someone asked on the SMS about why that Bears-Vikings game isn't on the board, and it's because there's confusion about whether Jay Cutler would play or not. But yeah, he's been out. Vic, obviously.
Yeah, the Bears.
They need Cutler. If Cutler's playing, they are a legitimate Super Bowl team. If he doesn't play, we saw them get blown out by the 49ers, who started their rookie quarterback.
I was going to say, neither team had their quarterback in.
Kaepernick was fantastic.
Did you hear his conference after the game as well? Jeez, he spoke and presented beautifully.
Did he? No, I didn't. I know he's got the sleeves. He's got the full-on sort of look. But he was a very good quarterback at Nevada. I remember watching him there. So didn't surprise me that he played well. Did surprise me he played that well.
So why don't we go through some of the games, guys? On live on 1HD at 5 a.m. is Seattle going to Miami. Seattle are $1.70. They've been drifting. The money's been for Miami. They've been $2.38 into $2.20. Line is 2.5 points, and the overs and unders 37.5.
Stay out game for me.
Yeah, I think the issue here is there's no doubt Seattle's a better team, but it's very tricky when a team like Seattle flies cross country and then plays. I think that's the 1 o'clock game as well on the in the East, so that would be a 10 a.m. game Seattle time, and I think that's been proven to be very tough for those teams to acclimate themselves.
Is there same rules we have like in the AFL here, where you got to go the day before?
Yes, because remember the Steelers couldn't get into New York after the hurricane and had to fly in the day of. So yes, they do need to be there the night before. So that I agree with you, Doc. I think that's a dangerous one to look at.
One of the games of the round for mine, you've got the Saints, who are 5-5, but they're 4-1 in their last 5 games. You've got the 49ers, who are 7-2, maybe without Alex Smith again, and probably one of the best defenses in the competition. San Francisco, $1.83. They go to New Orleans, who are 202. The line is 1 point, and the overs and unders 49.
I like New Orleans in this one. I think the Saints are on a bit of a roll. I know San Francisco's got a very good defense, but let's remember that playoff game, I think, last year where Breeze threw for a stack of yards against the 49ers, even though the 49ers won. If Kaepernick is again in, I don't think he's going to replicate what he did last week, even though the Saints' defense is soft. If Alex Smith is in, is he up to scratch yet? Has he come over those concussion after effects? So I actually like New Orleans in this one, at home as well.
Kaepernick's second up. That's a second up syndrome in sport.
I think that's right.
It's always a bit dicey. And just in case I didn't mention it, that's live on 1HD at 8:15 a.m.
Big game. That'll be one to keep an eye on.
Absolutely. Live on Fox Sports, 8:15 also. The Rams, they've been 220 into 206. They go to Arizona. They're out to $1.79. The line is 1 point. The overs and unders 37 points.
I like Arizona here.
These are two bad teams battling for the cellar in the National and NFC West. I think probably Arizona. St. Louis has been playing pretty poorly lately, but I don't know.
That's actually a rule of mine in AFL betting. Don't bet in games with two bad teams, even if you like one a lot. And that's
what I would do with that.
Okay, next. So we'll just go next. Then live on ESPN and on 1HD at 12:20, you've got Green Bay. Not often you get a price like this for Green Bay. They're 7-3, and on a 5-0 streak. Not often do you get $2.24 for Green Bay. The Giants $1.67. The line is 2.5. The overs and unders are 50.5.
They haven't got far to travel, Green Bay. I like them.
It's a huge game.
This
is a huge game. Giants coming off a bye.
Yeah, I like them at the line and at the head-to-head, to be honest. I think that's a little each-way bet there for me.
Giants defense, I think, is suspect to a guy like Aaron Rodgers, but the Giants have been so unpredictable lately. It's a trouble. They could come out and just play one of those typical Giants games and shut them down and win it. But I kind of agree with you on this one, Doc.
Live on Fox Sports at 12:35, the Panthers are $1.66. They've been backed $1.70 into $1.66. The Eagles out to $2.26. The line is 2.5. The overs and unders is 40.5.
This is the argument for why they want flex games as the season goes on, why they want to move games. This is a stinker, I got to admit. I mean, you looked at this last year when you scheduled it and went, hey, it's Vic against Cam Newton.
Yeah.
This is two exciting quarterbacks, two good teams. It's turned out to be two teams that are probably the most two disappointing teams in the National Football League. So it'll be interesting to see how they respond. I've liked nothing I've seen from the Eagles of late. I think the Panthers actually a couple weeks ago put up a good fight, lost to somebody. I want to say the Bears maybe by a point. So potentially you would think that the Panthers may have a little bit more going for them. The Eagles have pretty much phoned it in. But I don't know. It's a tough one to look at.
Yeah, pass.
So I'm going to give you guys 7 names, and we're going to go through the MVP, the regular season MVP betting. So I'll give you 7 names. Pick 3 who you reckon should be on top. Okay, no particular order. We've got Drew Brees, Arian Foster, Adrian Peterson, Aaron Rodgers, Matt Ryan, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning.
I think the last 2 are locks, aren't they?
Manning, I think Manning. I mean, he's turned the team around, essentially.
Yeah, here I was sort of knocking
I think Manning's
the Patriots
got to be
before,
in there. Adrian Peterson's interesting because he's overcome this debilitating injury and has become unbelievable. So you've got to throw him in there.
Yep.
So I'll throw him in as a bit of a wild card, and then I don't know, maybe stick. Who were the first couple you said again?
So I'll tell you what.
Yeah,
I'll give you the market.
Okay,
Peterson is good value as well. So the market in order is Peyton Manning $2.25.
Okay, yep.
Tom Brady $3.
Good call, Doc.
Matt Ryan $6.50.
Nah.
Aaron Rodgers $9.
Chance.
Hasn't had a great year by his admission. I mean, he has, but you know what I'm saying.
Adrian Peterson $13.
There you go.
And then Arian Foster 21 and Drew Brees 26.
Yeah, I think look, and as it goes on,
mind you,
exactly.
If they've turned their season around,
if they make the playoffs or get really close, Brees could be in the hunt. Same with Adrian Peterson. The Vikings suddenly are a game behind the Bears going into that game. If they beat the Bears, they're tied with Chicago. So Peterson could be a guy you look at.
And Doc, were your comments earlier when you were questioning Ed about Houston, obviously you're not a believer in Houston. False favourite. I'm about to go through the Super Bowl market.
What are they, 10-1?
They are 10-1.
I just don't believe they're 10-1, but I mean they keep winning these games where they look like they're going to get beaten. In fact, they should have got beaten last week.
Yeah, should have. Got a good defense and a good offense.
Yeah.
Good teams find a way to win as well. They win games they shouldn't.
Yeah.
Particularly when they got a touchdown they shouldn't have got, and then the field goal missed in overtime. Yeah. But they won the game.
So they're $6 favourite for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The Pats are $6.50. The Broncos $7. They've been a big shortener, I reckon, over the last 4 or 5 weeks, the Broncos.
Yeah, and we talked about that in the schedule. Just they're on a downhill slide, and that AFC West is not good. So, yeah, I think they're only going to shorten, I think.
Yeah, they're 7-3. San Francisco, $7.50. Green Bay, they've been $9 into $8. Falcons, they're 9-1, so their record's still holding up, $10. Baltimore, they've been a big shortener. They've been 17 into 13. And the Drifter's been Chicago, 13 out to 17. The Giants coming off the bye, $17. Then you go out to Pittsburgh, 26.
What are the Steelers? It's $26 the Steelers.
Yep.
Because Roethlisberger's out.
Is he still out, is he?
Yeah, he is. So I think that's kind of the issue.
And how long's Cutler out for?
Cutler's may play this weekend. Roethlisberger, I think, he's got a few more. I mean, it's going to be out for a little while, and that's why I think that. What's the line on the Cleveland-Pittsburgh? It's a surprising one when you look at it. It's Cleveland actually might be favored or close just because Roethlisberger's not playing. It's in Cleveland, and I think it's a real tight one. I think
so the line is 1 point. So Pittsburgh $1.77, okay. Cleveland $2.08. The line
it's not
is
as close
1
as I
point.
thought. Okay.
So that marker would be saying that he's not playing.
Yeah, that's correct.
So, how long's he out for, do we know?
I want to say they were talking 6 weeks, but I may be wrong about that.
That was a shoulder, wasn't it?
It was a shoulder or an elbow. He got tackled and he came down on his arm.
Yeah. It was a fairly innocuous incident, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing it, but I
remember he landed on his elbow. You're right, Al.
I remember the press conference because the coach pretty much came out and said, I don't really know what's going on. There's something wrong with his arm. I'm a coach. I'm going to coach the team. He's going to be out as long as he's out. And all that we can worry about is the stuff we're in control of. When he's back, he's back. Which I just
their
love the
coach is the same
attitude.
as ours.
Yeah.
he didn't say we're taking it one week at a time.
No. What was the backup quarterback like? How was
not good.
Yeah, I think it was
He had
at
a bad one.
Leftwich. Is it the veteran?
Yeah, Leftwich.
Yeah.
He didn't had no impact.
Could be a struggle.
Couple of SMSs coming through here. Ed, what is Jacksonville